the scope of these attacks, the location of them, and their sort of the geographic distance between them. So just walk us what we. At this point, I want to try to get a sense of what we know about the scope of these attacks, the location of them, and their sort of the geographic distance between them. So Tom, just walk us through, if you can, what we know.
All of this occurred, Anderson, to the north and a little bit east of the tourist areas, which you see at the bottom of the map here, where you'd normally go in Paris. We had a little problem with our image here. We'll see if we can get it back in a moment. But the bottom line is that these things happen north of the areas you normally go. If we go in here to Bataclan down here, this was a very short distance away from where the Charlie Hebdo attacks were, which we can see down here in the other part of the image. If you move into the theater, this theater is a medium-sized venue. It would hold about 1,000 people, maybe a few more, but not a whole lot. This is a photograph taken by the bass player from the band just before the concert began tonight, so you have a sense of what the setup was like inside there. So this is that location, quite near Charlie Hebdo, a short walk away, and from the street, you can get a sense of what it looks like and where many of the victims were taken after the attack tonight. You saw them out front of here and other places being handled, and you can see the other buildings all around it, some of which were a little bit higher than the theater, so that's a sense of that. Up the road, not terribly far, there were some of these smaller attacks. You may see a little dot over there, that's one of the smaller attacks, but then we move up to this restaurant up here, Le Petit Cambodge. This is a very popular restaurant, not necessarily a tourist spot, but it is featured in some of the tourist guides, as are some of these other locations that had some sort of incident. They're not as big. This is when it's shut down. If we back off, you can see an image of when it's open. Very popular with young people here. And this is a very densely populated arrondissement, or neighborhood, district of France. And then, of course, if we move from there to the stadium further north, it's a very modern stadium that can seat about 80,000 people. And, of course, there are going to be many questions about what this suicide bomber, as we're now told, intended as the target up here, because, in fact, we seem to have had one of the smallest numbers of casualties up here at this stadium, even though that's where the suicide bombers hit. But many, many questions about how these targets were chosen, Anderson, and how they were attacked, and who else, as your guest noted a short while ago, might still be out there after going through all this geography tonight. Anderson?
Yeah, Tom, thank you. Again, the death toll